the agreement, and this is for the performance contract for all the buildings, we opted for only 3 years of Ameresco's monitoring service. And basically it was my suggestion because after 3 years, we should have a good handle on things and things can go forward. But we do have a need to track the savings and these kinds of things for the finance board and everything. And so what I've done is I have been submitting these Ameresco reports to Peregrine, and they've been reviewing them and commenting on them. And Peregrine is working with the Board of Ed on maintaining building systems and everything there. And they're the biggest load that we have. And they did that a study of the library for us, which I've submitted to finance to I don't know where they stand on that with the COVID thing and everything, but to get it fixed. But Peregrine has given us proposal. I requested them give us a proposal to take over the quarterly monitoring, and that would also include gearing up and getting up on our EPA website that we haven't been successful in getting somebody to do, to where they can track the savings on an individual building basis, the electric savings and these kinds of things. And I believe I sent everybody their Peregrine's proposal.
Yeah.
And this is the same thing, Bill, that we didn't have a password for, so I couldn't get into the system, or is this something different?
Well, I had this lightning strike near the house, and everything on my computer is wiped out, and I
correct. So yeah, I mean, if we cannot get in, so how are they gonna monitor this either?
Well, the thing is, I've got to get back up on the site and the password and that kind of thing. I may have found that. I've been digging through some old papers.
So, I mean, if we get that, I would suggest that we stay with the original plan of I myself and Justin, we had both committed. I know Justin couldn't really keep up with it, but I'm more than happy to help with that. I mean, with the, if we can save anything for the town, I'm happy to help with that.
Well, if you can get us the website, because Peregrine can then monitor it and do the analysis and compare performance against what the savings guarantee says they'll give us, to make sure that that we are protecting our guarantee.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, I mean, if I'm given the access and everything, which I've I guess since your computer got fried, we've been kind of stuck there. But yeah, if you can help me with that, I'm more than happy to kind of get into it and start looking at it. Last year, I did not have the time, but towards the end of the year, as I mentioned, I would start having time. And but then we've been kind of in the limbo without having access to Eversource. So I'm more than happy to get into it if you do have access to it now.
Well, that's what I've got to find. I haven't been able to get that access yet.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, because without that, regardless whether it's me or Peregrine, we need the access.
Oh yeah, you got to get that.
Yeah. So, if you can put me in touch with, or alternatively with whoever it is that can provide the access, we could.
And I don't know, because it's an EPA site, federal site, which the folks that set it up for us with Eversource has gotten rid of that group of people, and they don't do that anymore.
Okay.
So what I'm looking to do is to get the EPA site and be able to get up, on it. So that's what I'm working on. But one of the things I can say about Peregrine is they will check the actual savings and do the calculations that are necessary in terms of weatherization and tracking utility bills and usage and weatherizing and this kind of a thing. And that's what the proposal is. And what I am looking for, if we're all in agreement, I'd like to submit the proposal to the selectmen to replace Ameresco with as we wrap them up on their monitoring with Peregrine. My basic reason for doing that is I've never really liked the fox guarding the hen house, so to speak.
Mm.
So that's why I would look for an independent. I think it's better if we have an independent of Ameresco that does the actual tracking and monitoring and verification. Not that I don't suspect Ameresco of anything. I just think that it better makes more sense for us to do it through an independent party, going forward.
I mean, from that point, I mean, that of course, like if there's anything that is self-monitoring, it absolutely makes sense for us to have someone else do the third-party monitoring. Where I'm coming from is if there are pieces of this where we can assist with it, which was the initial plan, if we can stay with that plan, I think we can save the town some monies is what I'm recommending.
Yeah, one of the things that Peregrine will do is what they're doing for the schools now. Mm-hmm. Is not only monitoring energy use, but also the building management systems in all the schools and all the town buildings, mm-hmm. and looking for make sure that it's functioning properly. That if equipment something fails, that they can report it right away. To make sure, that pieces of equipment aren't overridden on and forgotten about. Yeah. And that's pretty much what they have been working with the Board of Ed, and the Board of Ed has engaged them in contract to continue doing that. So I figured, if they're doing that, mm-hmm. Also with this, that gives us, much better opportunity to improve the savings.
If there was something with the schools in the fall or winter where they would be interrupted again, there would be remote learning, would they be in charge of that rescheduling of some of the controls to look for active times people are in the building versus not in the building, if that was the case?
Well, no, they would, Bob Geminero would be, but they would communicate because they do work with the Bob. And when we have situations like that, where we identify that the school's not going to be in session, they can work with Bob to make sure that systems are responding appropriately to the downtime.
Okay.
So if we're in agreement, I'd like to move that we recommend that I forward it on to the Board of Selectmen for consideration to engage Peregrine as a replacement for Ameresco. So if we have an agreement, all in favor say aye.
I have a second.
Okay, opposed? So moved. And that will, that I think will give us better
Hey,
line.
Bill?
Yeah.
Who seconded that? Made the motion. Who seconded it?
Sorry.
I'll second.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Without having these meetings monthly, in person, you forget these little nuances.
And it's gonna be in the $15,600. Is that what you're doing it for?
Yeah, that's what their proposal
Not
is.
to exceed?
Not
Okay, so it's a not to exceed amount.
Yeah. So far, any not to exceed they've given us, they've always been under. So I don't suspect that we'll have any problem with that.
Okay.
Tasks that they have done. Moving on to Rockwell and Johnson School, we're gearing up to move forward with installing the solar on Rockwell and Johnson, and also putting solar on top of the new sports track and field center. The town has engaged Advanced Energy Efficiencies to be the developer of that. They have filed and received the ZRECs for the Johnson and the Rockwell School solar and for rec payments from the utility company for that, and they're filing for the ZRECs for the solar on top of the track and field complex or a center. Matt has signed the documents necessary for them to go forward and do that. So that is underway. They have prepared a RFP, which I have submitted to finance for their input. The school, Bob Giminero has given us his input on it. Hey, Peter, how are you? You're on mute. We hope to have that and attended the building committee meeting last week, Kathy, or was it last week or the week before?
It was last week.
But we have next stage is to get with Rizzo to go up on it and for the engineers of the solar ones who are preparing the engineering documents for the RFP to take a look at the roofs and this type of a thing, and that's underway. We're waiting for Giminero. We have some Ken Hunt, the Rizzo project manager, and Bob Giminero are going to be with them and looking at the roofs. And we're waiting for Bob because Bob was in an environment where there was a person tested positive, so he's asked to wait till the end of this week to make sure that and to get tested to make sure he doesn't have the virus, and if he doesn't, then next week they're going to schedule to go up on the school roofs and look at that and evaluate for the solar. So that's underway. We're looking at two financing options. One's a purchase power agreement where a third party owns it and sells power to the town, pretty much the way that we do the landfill. The other way is to take advantage of the interest rates that are today and the town's AAA rating to possibly do a tax exempt lease purchase agreement, which would be probably significantly less on interest payments. So we're looking at those two options will be in the RFP. So do we have anybody want to discuss the RFP? Have any questions about it or?
Do we have the RFP, Bill, or?
I have a copy of it, and I can send it. It's only like 30 pages long, and I think it's 30 thick thing. It's a quarter of an inch thick anyway. So, but
if you have the electronic copy, because
yeah, I'll send it out to everybody.
That'll be great. Yeah.
For any comments or whatever.
Sure.
It's been through a couple. I've put my input into it, and we got Bob Giminero's input into it, and I'm waiting for finance for Bob Kozlowski to give us input, and I'll send it to you folks so that you can give us if you have any input in it too. And hopefully we can get this out. And the schedule would be to the third quarter or the fourth quarter of this year is to go forward with installation. That's what the current plan is of the solar on those schools.
Awesome.
Okay, moving on. The next thing is Mr. Peters' environment, the fleet study. And obviously we haven't moved any further on it because of the virus issue.
Well, now would be a great time as we look to start cutting budgets in the low-hanging fruit area first.
Yeah.
So I can share the document if we want, or if we, want to discuss it. Basically, it's a review of the city's fleet maintenance. And get this, in the towns into a fleet replacement cycle to ultimately save money. And I forget what the request was For the initial study was $19,000. And the exact scope is fleet utilization study, privatization evaluation, preventive maintenance programs, staffing analysis, performance and productivity evaluation, management policy and procedure manual development, fleet spec development and vehicle standards, computer system, and complete fuel management. So that's the scope of the $19,000 study, at which point the town would get recommendations on how to move forward should they choose to.
Again, this is for converting to all electric vehicles.
Well, right. So what drove this was the inquiry about electric vehicles. So it was my suggestion that before unless the idea is just to buy a halo vehicle for the town and say we have an electric, let's understand if it'll really save us money. And let's make sure that the town has optimized its fleet, because you don't have to go to electric to realize we've got an SUV problem in this town. So that's where the fleet utilization proposal came from. I'm a former New York City fleet manager for the city of New York. So got a buddy of mine to take a look at this. He's the retired fleet manager of Cincinnati, Ohio. So I can share this if we want. It's ultimately up to the first selectman. If you want.
Now that Kathy, my understanding is now I can have a physical meeting with Matt, in-person meeting with Matt. I have to get a reservation, make it, and
Yeah.
and
All
that's
you gotta
when
do is make an appointment. Make an
Yeah.
appointment, you get on the schedule and you can come in and talk to them.
okay, then that would allow me to do both the Peregrine and the fleet study.
Yep.
So I will get in touch with Matt and get an appointment and within the next 2 weeks, hopefully, and being able to go over it.
Or I can join you in a large conference room.
Yeah, well, he's got a large office with a large table in there, so we could social distance in the
Right.
quite easily there. Okay, I will go forward and do that. Anybody have any comments on?
Sure. I mean, if we're meeting in person and, I'm happy to join in as well, or if it's going to be a Zoom call, I'm happy to join in.
Okay,
Can certainly be a combination.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, they've done meetings both ways. I've done meetings where some people are in the conference room, others are Zooming in, so.
Sure.
Okay.
Yep.
I mean, just from a project continuity standpoint,
Sure.
I think in general, having more representation from the committee, so, there is continuity. I think it's important, especially in this environment. I think it's important. Who knows?
But if you have 3 of the commission members, I think then technically you have a quorum and technically.
Right.
it could be
We can't do that. We can't have a quorum, can we?
Right, so that's what I'm saying, like if you have 3 of you attend, you have a quorum, so.
Mhm.
So we
You
can't have.
If you don't want that, then it has to be recorded and, whatever. So you got to decide if you only want
Okay.
All right.
meeting or an official meeting.
We'll think about it.
It's all yours, Mr. Chairman.
Well, I'll talk to Matt and get something set up and arranged, and we'll figure out how to do it then. Kathy, now that Peter is here, we have a quorum from that meeting of April the 3rd, the minutes, so we can act and approve them and not have to push it forward, then, right?
Yep,
Okay,
Okay.
so have you
I'll
guys
approve 'em.
the meetings, the minutes?
Yes.
Okay, Fern,
Pardon?
have you reviewed the minutes from that April the 3rd meeting? You approve them, I approve them, Peter approves them.
Yeah, I approve them.
Okay. I'll second the motion. And we hold a vote and we got a majority, unanimous approval.
Okay.
Okay. And that's all we had on the agenda. Not very active, but the times are such that we're not going to be very active with what's going on.
Right.
But what I'll do is I will get a hold of Matt, get a meeting set up. I'm those things. I will send out the RFP for the solar. And what else was I going to do? Those two things. The Peregrine, the fleet study, get with Matt, and I'll send out the RFP. And
That's it.
that should do it. Okay. Do we have any other business anybody wants to talk about?
Last time I was at a meeting, Q1, I think, there was some talk of merging with another committee in town. Has there been any movement on that? Obviously, with everything going on, probably not, but.
No, I haven't heard another word since
Okay.
then. So, don't know where that stands.
Limbo.
Yeah. Okay, if there's nothing else, to have a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Second.
Motion
All
made.
right.
All in favor?
All
Aye.
right.
Aye.
Aye.
So enjoy, stay safe.
Yes.
Stay safe,
Whatever.
everybody.
Stay
Bye
safe.
then.
Cheers.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.